Hello friend, welcome back. In your previous video, I have discussed about that things with you, how can working with the props. So for the props here, I define some of the things like in our parents component, into the parents component, I define our this object. Okay, so into this object, I just define all that our value in particular that area, and also I just pass that request to our that page, that means in our all friend component. So previously, what exactly the things I did? Previously, I have already discussed about that things with you. If you want to create a connection from our component, that means from our child components to our mother component, right? So here I pass that request, and also here I have created another component. So that is also another child component. So with this child component, I pass all that request and I display that request in our main root. That means our mother component, right? So now if you want to do this type of work, like if you want to send some of the request from your child component to the mother component and also mother component to the child component, then how can do that work? Like here, if you want, I want to define some of the event. Like if you click on that here, it should be delected also from our two of this page. That is also one of the child component. That is also another child component. And here I define two of these in our mother component, right? So now how can interconnect it with our child to mother and mother to child? So into this video, I want to show you that things with a live example. So for the reasons we have to do, we have to create one of the custom event. So for doing this, go to our all friends. And here I want to define one of the component, one of the event component, like as a define as a @ as a click. So that is our event. So in particular that position, I want to define one of the method as a unfriend. Okay, I just define one of the method as an unfriend, and into this method area I want to actually unfriend this friend name. So as I told you before, here I already props our friends. That means it's now getting that request from our root, and into the roots, that is our all the friends, right? So also that is actually the name. So now here I want to unfriend this name. So I just simply define that part, that means the friends, and that is our name will be unfriend. Okay, so now we have to create this method. We have to create this method that is our data property, and after this here I have to define that method. So I have already discussed about that things with you, how can create that method. So here I define as a method. Okay, I just define the methods, and into the methods area I want to define our I define on the method name as a unfriend. So we have to create this method. So I just simply define that method name. Okay, I just simply define that method, and into this method here I want to define one of the parameters. So that is actually the parameter as a name. So I want to display that parameter as a name. So now from here I want to pass that request from our child to our mother. That means our parents is the app VueJs. Okay, so from here I want to send that request. So if you want to send that request from to the child to the mother component, then you have to define that things with this, and then you have to define that emit. So I just simply define as emit. Okay, so if you want to send that request from your child component to the mother component, then you have to use that emit, and into the emit they have the two parameter. One is the name and another will be as a value. Okay, so right now I have the value. I have value, that is our value name. So that is actually the name. So here I just simply define one of the parameter as a name, and here I define that our name as a delect. Okay, I just name it as a delect. So friend, I think it's very much clear to you. So from here there is our child component. From to the child component I pass that request to our parents. So for the reasons here you have to define this with the emit, and into the emit that use two parameter. One is the name, another is the our total value. So here our value is that name, right? And also from here that is I pass that name. So we have to pass that name, we have to pass that request, and we have to get it in our parents, right? So for the reasons here I already used that emit. So now we have to get it. Now go to our parents. So from here I have already discussed about that things with you. I pass our props with these props. So I just pass that props. Here you can see I just pass that things with these friends with our all friends page. So now in particular that area we have to define that name. So here I defining it with the @ and the delect. Okay, so from here I define the delect, right? So from here I pass that name as a delect. So now I simply added that delect. And also here we have to define one of the method, and I just create one of the method as a delect friend. Okay, I just name it as a delect friend. So now we have to create this method. We have to create this method in our method area. That means the component. After that component, here I define that method. Okay, I just simply define that methods on here. So now I want to create this method. So I just simply create this method. So now in our this method, that means the delect friend method, here I want to add some of the custom event. So for now here I define as a payload. Okay, whatever the things you can put on particular that area. If you want to use your name, you can also use it. So right now I'm using the payload. So now first of all I want to check it. So I want to check it with the console log. Okay, I just check it with the console log. First of all, what exactly in our payload. So I just simply add that custom log on here. So now if you click on the save all, I just click on the save all. Now go here, refresh that page. Now go to our impact. Now you can see that is all that our links. So now I want to actually pass it. Go to that console here. You can see that is actually the name is passing as a B. If you click on here, its name is passing as a C. If you click on here, it's also passing that name value as a E. Perfect. So here we're getting all the things, right? So here you can see I'm getting all that V, C, E, and if you click on the A, it's now getting that name as A. So now I want to delete it. So for doing this, we have to work for this one little bit. So now go here. So now better I want to put the things as a console of the commands. And now here, I in particular that position, if you want to use it. So that is our friends. Okay. So now first of all, I want to define that things with these. So with these and then our friends. So here I pass all the things with these friends. Okay, so here I define that these and due to the these, I just define the friend, and then I also want to use our all the data. So I just simply define the these and also again the friends, because in our friends actually in particular that area, that is in our array, I have already all that object, right? So right now I want to delete that part. That means that with this name I want to delete it. So that is the friends. I just simply defining on here. And after that also they have the another function as a filter. So I just simply define that filter. So laterally I will also show you how can actually working with the filters. Don't worry about it. So now here I just simply added one of the function as a filter function. Into the filter function I just define our singular part. That means these friends. Here I define as a friend. Okay, I just simply define the friend, and here I put some of the condition, and I just define that condition, and here I define that our return view. So here that is it should be returned to our this friend this name. So when it should be matched with our payroll request, so that means here I defined one of the requests, right? So that is the payroll custom one of the event, and here when it should be matched, then it should be deleted, rather than it should be not deleted. So this type of one of the condition I want to define. First of all, there is a friend. With this friend here I define the return. I just simply define the return, sorry. Okay, I just simply the return and return with our friends. That means here I getting all the data in our for each with the friend and the name, right? So now I just simply define that friend. So here I just simply define the friend. Into the friend I just simply define that name. So friend, I think you already know about it. Actually, why I'm actually using the friend, because here if you go to this position, as I told you before, into the for each I define that friends, there's a singular and a plural. So if you want to get all the data, then you have to define that things with this friend, right? Here I have already indexing that data. So now I just simply define the return and the friend, and when it should be not equal, so here I define as a not equal with our this custom event. So what exactly that when you put some of the action, when you click on the here, when you click on here, so there is actually the I defining that with this our payload, when it should be not equal our payload name. So I just simply define as our payload. Okay, when it's a payload and the payload name. So for now I just simply define that part. Okay, so that is our these friends and these friends. From here I filtered that part. With our friends I getting past the data and returned it with the friend name, when it should be our friend name, not equal with our payload. that means this custom event. Okay, so there is a name. When it should be not matched, then it should be delected. Let's check this out. You can see that is also everything is green. So let's check this out. As I click on the save all, now go to our site. Here I just refresh it, and now I just click on the A. Yes, now you can see our A is totally gone from here. Click on the B, B is gone, E is gone, D is also gone. So it's now perfectly delected that data from here. Okay, so it's now perfectly delected. So friend, maybe it's little bit hard for you, so don't worry about it. Like I explain it again, like from here you can see, from here I pass that delete. So, okay, so from here I just create the connection. I just pass that object from our child event to our root event. So from here, for the reasons here, I define that emit, and into the emit I just define one of the names. So from here I pass some of the requests, so that is actually request name as a delete. Right, so we have to get it. So in our root, that means in our mother component here, I define that root. You can see that I just simply define that as a delete ID, and into this position I take one of the method. So I just define one of the method as a delete friend method, and now I have created one of the method as a delete friend method. And into the delete friend here, I define one of the custom event as a payload. So whatever the things you will put on particular that area is doesn't matter. Because of all, I have already discussed about that things with you. When you check with the console log, what exactly is visible? It's visible only that name, right? So if you use as a Kazi or Aryan, whatever the name you will put on particular that area, you have to pass it the same name. So it's actually contain the name. Okay, so you have to actually update it, and rather than I just simply define about these and the friends, and these friends means here I have already defined one of the property with our all that our data. Right here I have already solved that value, so I just define all that our arrow value and take the things with this friend. So I just simply define access it as a this friend, and into this friend area I want to filter it. So there have so many value, and here I have defined with the filter. So I want to filter it with in our friend. So I just simply define that things with the friend, return with the friend name. So here I define our all the data and I filter it, and I take the things with this friend. So into this friend I have defined that name, that means this name object. Okay, and when it should be not equal with our payload, into the payload, that means here I have already defined one of the on click event name. When you click it, then it should be display some of the name, right? So here I define that name. So when it should be not match, then it should be deleted. And this delete is not actually permanent delete, it's actually the temporary delete. I just click on the save all. Okay, that's already saved, so I just click on the save. And now here if you go, if you click on the refresh, now you can see everything is now coming again. So as I told you, it's not as actually permanent, so that is actually the temporary. So if you click on here, it should be deleted. Okay, so friend, I think it's very much clear to you. So now it's perfectly visible, and that's how this custom event work. So friend, don't worry, stay with me step by step, everything will be more clear to you. Okay, so that's all about our custom event. In our next video, I want to discuss about VueJs lifecycle hook. What is the lifecycle hook? In our next video, I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.